crash, in a car accident in which Anthony Joshua survived. His uncle quoted to Nigerian publications, the major thing there is that he has retired from boxing. That is one thing that makes us glad, because each time he's fighting in the ring, we are always carried away emotionally. Adedamola Joshua told Nigerian outlet The Punch. He also quoted, each time he's knocked down, it is just like the heart is coming out of our chest. All these emotional feelings whenever he's fighting is too much trauma for us also. Now that he has said that he is leaving while the ovation is highest, we are happy.
This tragedy, it appears to be getting worse. Everything that I've heard involving this Anthony Joshua incident that recently took place in Nigeria is bad. There's not been one almost like silver lining or redemptive quality that I've heard. And again, like I said, if you care about the next chapter of the heavyweight division, you should truly be affected by this.
And there you have it, guys. There is the uncle of Anthony Joshua claiming that Anthony Joshua has retired. The former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua is seriously considering retirement from boxing, according to his uncle, Adedamola Joshua. Joshua, of course, was injured in a car collision last week.
Breaking news just hit the boxing world, and it's absolutely devastating. Anthony Joshua's uncle just made it official. The heavyweight champion has hung up his gloves for good. This bombshell comes after that horrific car accident that claimed the lives of two of his closest team members. The emotional damage from losing people so close to him has pushed Joshua to make the ultimate choice, walking away from everything that made him famous to focus on what really matters.
It's just a sport. Boxing sport is not more important than life. It's not. It's a sport. Put it in perspective. Who cares whether he carries on boxing? That's not the thing. You know, human lives have been lost. You can never, that's price. You can't get them back. It's priceless. You can't get it back. What does boxing matter? You know what I mean? It don't matter one bit. That's what I'm saying to you. It's like, but sometimes you get these reality checks in life.
Duke McKenzie sees right through this whole situation, and he's calling it exactly what it is, a smart move by a mature fighter. Look, when tragedy hits this hard, stepping back isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Joshua's already carved out his place in boxing history, so McKenzie knows what we're all thinking. This retirement announcement that everyone's waiting for is just a formality at this point. The man's putting his family and his healing first, and that takes more guts than any fight ever could.
I'm sure of that. And he's not a silly man, he's not. And I would envisage over the next few months, he will announce his official.
Eddie Hearn's looking at this from a completely different angle though. Sure, the accident was the breaking point, but Joshua's body has been screaming at him for years. Think about it, countless brutal training camps, wars in the ring, and now his physical limits are catching up with him. This might actually be perfect timing to walk away. When your health and long-term well-being are on the line, continuing to fight just doesn't make sense anymore. Smart fighters know when to listen to their bodies, and Joshua's doing exactly that.
No, but it all depends on his body. I mean, that, you know, I wasn't being facetious before, but like, you never know the landscape of this, but more likely he's thought this is a good time to bow out, or got a few niggles, and I don't.
Sir Oliver's focusing on what we're all going to miss though. Joshua wasn't just another heavyweight, he was electricity in human form. Every time he stepped through those ropes, magic happened. The excitement, the raw energy, the way he could command a crowd. That's irreplaceable. The heavyweight division just lost its biggest star, and the void he's leaving behind is massive. When you combine natural talent with that kind of magnetic personality, you get a once-in-a-generation fighter, and Britain just lost theirs.
Without a doubt, it's not just that he's a big personality and he sells fights so well and he's a big character, and the press conferences, the build-up to fights, and what he delivers in the ring. The guy is a serious talent, and he'll be missed when he's retired, that is for sure.
Here's what most people don't realize about Joshua's situation. The battles he's been fighting outside the ring have been just as brutal as anything inside it. The pressure, the constant scrutiny, the mental health struggles that nobody talks about. That stuff adds up. Boxing breaks you down mentally just as much as physically, and Joshua recognizing that he needs to protect his well-being shows incredible self-awareness. When someone admits they're struggling mentally, that takes serious courage, especially for someone in his position.
Anthony's, if he's got these guys with him as part of his team, they're close aides, close friends. He's going to have lost two very close friends, two members of his team who are part of his mental, psychological and spiritual scaffolding. He will have to recover from this in all those ways, as well as physically.
The emotional destruction Joshua's dealing with right now goes way beyond what any of us can imagine. Losing two team members who were basically family in that crash has shattered him completely. This isn't about boxing politics or career moves. This is about a man trying to piece his life back together after unthinkable tragedy. Real loss changes everything, even for champions who seem untouchable. Recovery from something like this isn't measured in weeks or months. It's measured in years.
So this retirement, I'm not sure if it's genuine. Maybe it is, but I don't know what he's going to do now he's retired. But the fact of the matter is, he's announced his retirement. He's either trying to leverage for more money and putting himself in position, so he's got people begging for him to come out, or he's actually genuinely going to retire. Not sure what he's going to do.
Dr. Carl Froch is throwing some serious skepticism into the mix here. In boxing, retirement announcements happen all the time and half of them don't stick. But given what Joshua just went through, this feels different. Froch knows the game better than most, so his doubts make sense. But when you factor in the severity of this accident, this retirement looks like the real deal. Sometimes circumstances force your hand in ways that strategy never could.
In Nigeria, it's just sad. It just makes you realise how valuable life is and how things can change in a heartbeat. So when we talk about fights and we talk about beefs and these things are just nothing when it comes to real life and losing a life. So it was a sad thing to hear, a sad thing to see. God knows how it'll affect those that saw it mentally, emotionally. But you've got to think about these two men who were somebody's child, someone's brother, and that's what you've got to think about, those people that have lost their life.
Johnny Nelson gets to the heart of what this really means. All the fight hype and rivalries just disappear when real-life tragedy strikes this hard. Losing two team members instantly puts everything into perspective. Titles mean nothing when people you care about are gone. Joshua's facing emotional challenges that make any heavyweight fight look easy. This is about human fragility and how even the strongest people have breaking points. His toughest fight isn't happening in any ring.
God bless you, AJ. You one lucky lad. God bless you, I'm glad you're alive again. Shocked me, it has. Terrible. Anyway, good luck everybody and try and enjoy the new year as much as you can.
John Fury's reaction cuts straight to what matters most. Joshua survived, and that's everything. Forget the belts, forget the fame. The man is alive when he easily could have been another casualty. That kind of close call changes how you see everything. For Joshua, walking away from that crash breathing is probably all the victory he needs. Life becomes precious in ways you never understood before when death comes that close.
Through such a severe car accident there, like, all right, he's lucky enough to still be alive, but fuck me, his body must be going through a lot right there. This is not a man who winces in pain easily, right? He gets punched for a living, and obviously, like, you're supposed to take people out of car accidents like that with great care because you don't want to.
The physical trauma from this crash is something Joshua's never experienced before. This guy has taken punishment from the best heavyweights in the world, but this is different. His body and mind are dealing with a completely new kind of damage. The recovery process will test every ounce of mental toughness he's ever developed. Sometimes the smartest thing a tough person can do is admit when they need time to heal properly.
Around them. Be there for them and the family, anything they need. You know, sometimes when someone is a star, they have a lot of things in their life taken care of for them. So you really have to move into that mode in this situation as well. Make sure obviously they're getting the best medical attention, make sure their family are safe and happy and as happy as can be.
The support system around Joshua right now is absolutely critical. His family and management team aren't thinking about boxing, they're thinking about keeping him whole. This is where you find out who really has your back when the cameras stop rolling. Joshua's strength has always been impressive, but right now, he needs to lean on the people who love him most. That's not weakness, that's human.
In fact, some very interesting and germane points you make there in this moment, Raheem. That I think what I've noticed, that obviously there were a kind of panoply of opinions about him fighting Jake Paul to take it back a week and a half. I mean, I was critical of that fight being signed, first of all, because I worried about the dangers for Jake Paul. He got his jaw broken at the end of the day, and kind of used the scars as a flag in his new moon, delusionally optimistic in his words, as he is about these things. So Anthony Joshua went to America a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, played the role which he needed to play, was very classy throughout.
Looking back at Joshua's professionalism throughout his career, even when people criticized his choices, he always handled himself with class. That maturity and thoughtfulness that people saw in his fighting decisions is exactly what's driving this retirement choice. Joshua doesn't make impulsive moves, he thinks everything through, and that reputation makes this retirement announcement feel completely genuine.
Alexander Usyk said, "This is an unbelievable loss. Sinna and Latif are two incredible people who were not only part of AJ's team, but also friends. My sincere condolences to their families, loved ones, and everyone who knew them. Anthony Joshua, wishing you a speedy recovery. Stay strong, champ."
Alexander Usyk understands the deeper pain Joshua is experiencing right now. These weren't just teammates who died, they were friends, people he trusted with his life every day. The psychological impact of losing people that close to you is devastating. Even the toughest fighters in the world recognize when their peers are facing battles that have nothing to do with boxing. Usyk's respect and concern show how the boxing community rallies around their own when tragedy strikes this hard. Ryan Garcia's reaction proves that this story has shaken fighters everywhere. Everyone in boxing knows that danger exists inside and outside the ring, but Joshua surviving this accident reminded them all how quickly everything can change. The solidarity from other fighters isn't about competition right now, it's about human decency. Garcia and others are focusing on Joshua's recovery, not his career, because they understand what really matters in moments like this.
Anthony Joshua's SUV struck the stationary truck. So I just want to give you guys the breaking news. Unfortunately, Anthony Joshua was involved in a car accident in Nigeria. Prayers to Anthony H.A. Joshua. And
the brutal details of Joshua's crash make the whole situation even more sobering. A stationary truck, the sudden impact, the randomness of it all. It shows how vulnerable everyone is to life's unexpected moments. This news sent shockwaves through the entire boxing world because it forced everyone to confront mortality. Joshua's strength as a fighter becomes secondary to his survival as a person. So here's where we stand with Anthony Joshua's story. The accident that killed two of his team members has changed everything. His perspective, his priorities, his entire future. This isn't just about a boxer retiring, it's about a man choosing life and family over fame and money. If Joshua decides to come back someday, it would be the ultimate comeback story. If he stays retired, he's showing wisdom that most fighters never develop. Either way, his legacy is secure, and his well-being comes first. The boxing world will never be quite the same, but sometimes the most important victories happen outside the ring.